Hello, class. Today you're going to begin reading the story Thank You, Ma'am by Langston Hughes. So let's do a little bit of discussion before we begin reading of what this story is about and who the author is. The author is a man named Langston Hughes. Langston Hughes is well known for his time in the Harlem Renaissance. Now, the Harlem Renaissance was a time period back in the early 20th century when many African Americans were really beginning to produce some amazing quality of art and music, literature, etc. And Langston Hughes came out of that movement. Now, the story, Thank You Ma'am, takes place in 1950s in Harlem, which is a section of New York City. It's important to note that the vocabulary in the story is very much typical of the time period and the people that were speaking in the story. You're going to find two characters, Roger and Mrs. Luella Bates Washington Jones. They are they are actually the only two characters that appear in the story. I want you to focus on which one of the characters is the protagonist. In other words, which character is the one with a conflict, and which character is the antagonist or the character that creates the conflict. Before you begin reading, though, I want you to work on some words to know. There are 5 of them. We have the word barren, frail, mistrust, presentable, and swayed. And I want you to use your glossaries in your textbooks to please define the words and write each word in a sentence. After you've done that, then you can begin reading the story. As you're reading, there are some things that I need you to know. I need you to do. You need to do your active reading chart. Now, you already know how to fold the paper to get 6 squares. You need to label each of the boxes: the prediction box, visualization, connect to your life, questions or clarifications needed, unknown words, and evaluate. Before you begin actually reading the story after you've done your words to know, I want you to make a prediction. What do you think the story is going to be about? You already know a little bit about it, but not much. Please don't look ahead before you begin doing this. As you're reading, don't forget to do a visualization. I know I'm not the best artist, and you don't have to be the best artist either, but I do want you to try to visualize the story in some way in a drawing. Connect to your life. I have a very simple question that I want you to ask yourselves when you connect to your life. Have you ever done anything you regret? So that's important. I want you to make sure you ask that question of yourselves as you read the story. Excuse me, not as you read. That's what happens when you're typing. Have you ever done anything that you regret? Is the question. Okay. Also remember, it's important as you read to make sure that you are looking for unknown words, and it isn't enough simply to write the unknown words down. You need to define the words as you go. You probably will not finish the story today, but if you do, you need to also evaluate the story. In other words, you need to write a short summary and give your opinion based upon what the story says about how you feel the story went. Make sure you're behaving for the sub today and doing everything you know you should be. I will see you tomorrow.